How will electric cars affect Australia as a whole? Presented by Mitchell Nodge.
Greetings, global investors and fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Mitchell Nodge, and I'm here to talk to you about the development of electric cars and why investment in them is a great idea. Some of these examples include, but are not limited to, vehicle manufacturing efficiency alongside with its more environmentally friendly manners, artificial intelligence and how it will influence how we will travel around Australia, and how all governments love the idea of electric cars. Ever since California became interested in the electric automobile industry with the EV1, the idea of electric cars being the future started popping up all around the world. Everyone thought it was inevitable to be the future, until California seemed to lose interest. Electric cars slowly slipped back into the abyss, even though cries from well-paying customers started coming quick and fast. However, in 2008, many governments around the world became reinterested in the idea of electric automobiles. This may be because of the major advances in batteries, alongside with a rapidly increasing amount of deaths involved with air pollution. Luckily for all the governments that were worried, Tesla had already begun research and testing of their original Tesla Roadster since 2004. America's government helped push out these cars to customers at the time by reducing the amount of tax Tesla had to pay for these cars, alongside with assisting with its production. However, production was still absurdly slow. The years following, the production of electric cars started to increase, alongside with other vehicle manufacturers jumping onto the hype train of electric cars. But the real question is, what was Australia doing at the time? Were they out cooking shrimp on the barbie with some mates? Likely. It wasn't until 2015 when Australia started rolling out implementations of electric car policies that lowered the amount of tax that had to be paid in order to import them, with a 33% reduction. Alongside with this, they started rolling out customer-related tax of $100 an annual discount on electrical vehicle registration within Victoria, alongside with lowering registration discounts by 20% in the ACT. These both seem like testing periods of policies for the government. However, the government began making stronger strides within the electrical car industry in 2018 and 2019, with the government investing heavily in a startup company which specializes in electrical vans for delivery services. They've also started producing the idea of implementing Tesla charging stations throughout the entirety of Australia, alongside of implementing a few of them within supermarkets to incentivize customers to stay more. This shows that the government cares about implementing these electric cars within Australia and are willing to go reasonable lengths to bring them in. But why exactly do we want to bring these electric cars into our society? What's wrong with normal combustion engine cars? There is of course the major pollution issue with normal cars, but are electric cars better in any way? Well, for starters, these cars follow a much more effective build quality than normal petroleum cars. This is because normal petroleum cars require lots of moving segments to allow them to function like a normal car. Combustion engines and petroleum car designs generally have anywhere between 1,200 and 3,400 moving parts. That's a lot of things that can break. An electric motor design, meanwhile, has anywhere between 70 and 100 pieces. This causes the electric car to be a lot less prone to breaking. Along with this, these moving parts are generally localized on each of the wheels. This results in tremendously easier repair jobs. This overall lowers the amount of maintenance required on these cars, which increases the convenience of owning an electric car. Electric cars are also tremendously better at gripping the road than normal cars. This is caused by the tremendously more efficient engine, which instead of having to rely on the petroleum to melt, it could simply be powered by a battery from underneath the car, which has a much more consistent flow. This also gives the car extra weight to avoid flipping and increase the friction against the road. Finally, the overall build quality is stronger because less metal has to be compromised in order to implement all the engine and mechanical parts required for a combustion engine car, which makes the vehicle have overall less structurally sound areas. Even though these electric cars are tremendously more safe already with their more structurally sound build and more consistent acceleration and top speed, what if there was a way to make these cars much more safe? Smiley face. Some electric car manufacturers are trying to implement new and innovative self-driving features which allow the car to drive simultaneously, either with full autopilot or slight autopilot. They have managed to replicate an artificial brain that utilizes many methods to take control of the car's driving mechanics. They will have the ability to be better at driving than any single person on Earth. I say will because they haven't learned how to be better than us yet. They are using a new technology known as machine learning. This machine learning evolves via some samples of knowledge of what's good and what's bad on the road. This helps teach a computer that crashing is bad. They are meticulously designed to utilize a combination of the virtual cloud and the onboard CPU to fabricate road routes, the exact speed they need to be going, and how much it needs to accelerate to stay that speed, and in a safe speed. Within practical usage, the car simply follows a GPS layout provided by the car manufacturer, with Tesla being the main candidate as of right now. The cars attempt to follow the roads, alongside with remembering any alterations within the road that they observe and sending it up to the cloud for Tesla to remember, Tesla's cloud. As is seen, the car implements some squares around the object that it knows it needs to avoid. This results in the car providing an easy ride for the driver and passengers. According to Tesla's owner, Elon Musk, the electric cars are actually completely roadworthy and are able to drive by themselves. It's just the government that's holding them back. However, I do agree with all the governments holding these electric cars back from being completely driverless as of right now, since they probably do need a bit more refinement before they become much more efficient at driving than us, so the risk becomes negligible. Well, the governments are talking about heavy implementation of these cars throughout all of Australia, with the Labour Party overly optimistic 50% of all new vehicle sales in 2030 to be electric cars. If this becomes true, it would help Australia's evolution to the electric world tremendously. Also, since about 18% of greenhouse gases from Australia is from transport, that would help reduce it down to about 9% from transport. This is a step in the right direction for the world as a whole. This would of course give a plentiful amount of praise for electric cars, which would assist with your electric car investments and boost them up a bit higher, because you know you want that. Another important fact about electric cars that should not be overlooked is how much safer they are than normal cars. They have no explosive fuel within the front or the back of the car, which is required for the combustion engine. The final important fact is just straight up convenience. Electric cars require a lot less maintenance from mechanics, and are not required to be refueled at a fuel station unless you're planning on a super long distance travel. You can take it home and plug it in overnight and it just charges. Finally, the self-driving feature is a must-have. Like, seriously, you could do anything else while driving or being driven to places. For example, you could do your research project while you're being driven to school. So in conclusion, electric cars are a great investment opportunity for their convenience, build quality and self-driving capabilities, alongside with how governments all over the world, including Australia's, are eager to implement these cars. It's hard to not think about how these are a great investment opportunity. I greatly urge you to invest in it. Thanks for listening. Yeah, okay.